Here's 7 prophetic events that will either happen before the tribulation or really early in the beginning of the tribulation. Number 1, we're looking for some kind of 10-nation confederacy. The Bible says that 10 kings will actually exist to give their authority to the Antichrist. Number 2 is the rise of the Antichrist. It's quite possible that the Antichrist will be sort of a background political figure because he's actually called the Little Horn, and it says he springs up after the 10 kings are already established. Number 3, here's the big one. The Antichrist is going to subdue or uproot 3 of those kings. That basically means he is going to take their power. Now, it's not clear if that means that he's literally going to kill them or if he's just going to somehow overrule them or take over their country, but it's going to be very clear 3 of them are taken out of the scene. Now, 4 through 7 are the controversial ones. So number 4 is a covenant will be confirmed with Israel. Some people like to call this a peace treaty. Now, there is very little information about this covenant, and it's not even mentioned in the New Testament. So this could be like a backdoor deal, or it could be something that's highly publicized the way the Abraham Accords were. Many people believe that this will specifically allow Israel to be able to rebuild the temple and reinstate sacrifices, which leads me to the last 3 numbers. Number 5 is Old Testament style sacrifices will be resumed in Israel because we have so many verses about the Antichrist stopping sacrifices. Now, I've heard it's possible for them to reinstate sacrifices even before the temple is rebuilt. Some people say that all you need is the altar. Other people say that it could be like a tent or a tabernacle situation. So we may see the reinstatement of sacrifices before a temple is rebuilt. Which leads me to number 6, which is a temple will be rebuilt in Jerusalem. I believe that the Bible is incredibly clear that a literal building will exist that the Antichrist sits in and declares that he's God. There's also Bible verses in Daniel that talk about how the Antichrist armies will desecrate the temple, and 2 Thessalonians 2 specifically mentions a temple. Revelation 11, 1 through 2 mentions a temple. To me, number 7 is the most important sign that there is, and that is the abomination of desolation. That's where the Antichrist stands in the temple, and he erects some kind of idolatrous image. We also see very similar references in Revelation chapter 13, where there's the image of the beast, and people are required to worship it. And again, the abomination of desolation is referenced multiple times throughout the book of Daniel, and Jesus told us to look at the book of Daniel to understand. Once the abomination of desolation occurs, that is the beginning of the Great Tribulation, which is the final 3.5 years. At that point, the Antichrist will switch from being a political leader, and he will reveal himself as the Antichrist. When he says that nobody else can worship anybody but him, he will say that he is God. Let me know if you guys have any questions.